Uh, let's go ahead.
Mike Dolson,
I'm here.
Tom McDonald, Jennifer Finley, here, Jim Molitor, Carol Langford, Danielle Matt, here, Bing Matt,
Here.
James Steele Jr.,
Yes.
Martin Charlo, Glenn Tooties, Lenny Strahan.
Thank you, Jen. Jimmy, would you give us a prayer this morning, please?
So much. Grandfather, we thank you for this day today. Thank you for all the blessings we have received and the guidance we get from you for what we have to do for the people that we work for. I ask you to keep us in mind, help us with the decisions, and just keep everybody in your mind as they travel back and forth from home and travel on the business trips they have to do for this tribe. Ask you to be with them. Ask you to be with the people that have lost loved ones, and comfort them. Watch over the children and the elders of our people. Ask this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Jimmy. We have minutes from June 12th. Look at those, please.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, James.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. On pages 14 and 15, I put in my statement for the record. I can read it out loud or email it to everyone. No, Abby, I sent it to her this morning. I can read it if it's all right. James Steele Jr. for the record, my motion to increase the filing fee for council candidates is a deliberate and beneficial step for several reasons. And it is crucial to clarify that this motion is emphatically not intended to exclude qualified candidates from seeking public office. First, the adjusted fee helps to offset the administrative costs associated with processing applications, vetting candidates, and managing the electoral process more efficiently. This ensures that tribal funds are utilized responsibly and that the significant logistical demands of an election are adequately resourced. Secondly, a modest increase in the filing fee can serve as an indicator of a candidate's genuine commitment and seriousness. While certainly not a barrier to entry for genuinely interested candidates, it encourages a more thoughtful decision to run and potentially reducing the number of frivolous candidacies and allowing for a more focused electoral discourse on substantive issues. This ultimately benefits the voters by presenting a slate of candidates who have demonstrated a foundational level of dedication. It is important to reiterate that this fee increase has been set at a level that remains accessible and does not pose an undue financial burden on the vast majority of potential candidates. My motion promotes a more robust, serious, well-managed electoral process, ultimately strengthening our tribal democracy.
Thank you, James. Motion by Glenn to approve the minutes with corrections. Second by Jimmy. All in favor? Unanimous. Jennifer abstains. I guess that's not unanimous. Everybody else? Jennifer abstains. We have an agenda. We have 2 walk-ins so far. Anything else for the agenda? Motion by Jimmy to approve the agenda with additions. I do have a couple things later. Second by James. Bing's got something? Got a motion by Jimmy and a second by James to approve the agenda with additions. All in favor? We're unanimous. We'll go out of regular into executive for our first walk in.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was given a request from the Powell Committee asking that they gave 6 employees change of duty for the Powwow and Arlee. That's Cornell Matt, Carla Matt, Lena Tijuana, John Hammer, Riley Knudsen, and Louis Pierre. And they're asking to have a change of duty for the powwow. I guess they did talk to, Cornell says he thinks all of them got to talk to the supervisors, but he wasn't sure, but that's what he was asking. So he asked me if I would bring it in and see if we could get approval from council for them to have that change of duty.
Martin,
I'd make the motion with supervisor approval.
motion by Martin. Yeah. Second by Jimmy. All in favor for the change of duty with supervisor approval? We're unanimous. Got a similar request from Michelle Mitchell for folks to work up at, I guess, their camp this week. And the same request goes for Corley Barnaby, Cami, Dupuy, Pablo, Verena Morjo, Rhonda Couture, Mary Rose Morjo, and Jewel Rose Brueggemann with supervisor approval. Change of motion by Danny. A second. Second by Len. All in favor? Unanimous. We'll take a break for 5 minutes. We're gonna break 5 minutes, Ruthie. I think we'll go ahead. They know we're here.
Right.
Morning, Ruthie.
Pesquix. My first request or my first issue, requesting to purchase capital equipment for law enforcement. I want to actually modify that. What it is, it's doing improvement to the kitchen part of the jail facility. So it was requested as simply purchasing this equipment that exceeded $10,000. But it does have to be coordinated with facilities, so it's actually kind of a minor improvement project. So you're still required to approve that in either case, so I just wanted to clarify that. They will replace their cabinets and their sink and some other things within that kitchen to go stainless steel. It'll be improved for the sanitation of the facility. So we would recommend approval, and we do have funding available in the current budget to cover that, so no increase would be necessary.
Motion by Carol to go ahead with the law enforcement kitchen improvement. Second by Martin. All in favor? Unanimous?
Good.
Danny out of the room.
Okay, thank you. The second request is to get approval for the Bison Range to purchase a rangeland drill attachment. Estimated cost, as you see, they're just over 25,000. They have an EQIP grant that will cover that cost, so there's no expenditure tribal funds for this. Requires approval. We are nearing the July 1st deadline, so for policy, we just need that approval.
Motion by Jimmy to approve the rangeland drill. Second by Carol. All in favor? Unanimous? Again, Danny out of the room.
And my final item, which I don't have in your packet, I was literally still working on it this morning. We are going to do a journal entry for tribal health. They had incurred expense in one of their ARPA IHS compact programs. And that program funding is what we did use for purchase of the Flathead Lake Inn. So we have to move that expense out so that program is not going to be over expended. So the journal entry is going to post to closed months, and under our policy that requires council approval. It's a total of $118,305 that we're going to journal entry out of the ARPA program 4141 and properly charge it to their M&I program 4115.
Motion by Martin to approve the journal entry. Second by Carol. All in favor? Unanimous. Go ahead, Carol.
106 program is still intact. You know, the leasing.
Oh, yes. Well, as far as we know, what they do have is a very healthy, I hate to use the words backlog, but they do have a long list of requests. And the way they treat them is you make your proposal and formally submit your request, and that starts the clock for when you'll be eligible to be recouping through leasing payments. I had sat in on a discussion with the BIA side of that, and they were intimating it was about an 18-month out wait because of the requests that they have to keep going through and addressing. IHS, I could not answer how long that process would take.
Do you know if we have anything? I know Mike sent me to a meeting, I don't know, it's been a year and a half now ago, to, you know, to attend that. And it sounded like there was options for us to get some of our buildings in there.
Yeah, we would be able to place virtually all of our current facilities under 105 or 106L. The only one that's kind of in a different area is the Ronan Health Center because of that. I say joint venture, but it's,
Yeah.
you know, not joint venture in IHS
So
speak.
are we in or out, or have we?
We have not submitted any proposals for either BIA or IHS. Greg and I have determined that we do want to get those proposals together.
And I know you guys are busy, but certainly that would be bringing I think a lot of revenue in.
Yeah, we, you know, I know it was asked, why didn't we ever do this before? Well, we could have done it, you know, at any time after the amendments, as far as I know, for even 1988 or forward. But because Congress never appropriated really anything, we could request it. The likelihood of it being actually receiving funding was practically not there. And finally, it's been in probably the last 5 years that we really saw they were even putting dollars in there. I can share kind of what little, it's just blown up. I mean, literally gone from 0 to 60 overnight. But we would, in our case, can, you know, pursue one of two options. The one that I personally in favor of is what you call full cost, where we get into an agreement where whatever it costs in full to operate and maintain that facility is what we're going to request. So we would be looking at utilities costs, custodial maintenance, anything that's keeping the building literally going. So. There's a list of requirements. You have to have, you know, floor plans. You have to have your operational plan for what's in there. IHS is a bit more stringent than, say, Bureau. Bureau has, just, I think by the nature, we have so many different programs under our compact. But healthcare is going to be kind of a little bit more entailed. And so if it's a building we already have, then you have to have, you know, as I said, the description of the facility, how much square footage it is, how many people occupy, what you'll actually do in there, and then your actual cost proposal. And those are, you know, just things that you put together. But yeah, some of the cost issue has been a little bit hard to, you know, come up with just by the way that we're seeing how it's presently recorded. We try to work with facilities maintenance, especially for utilities costs. So they pay utilities for every government building. So trying to isolate, let's just say this building, half of this building could be under lease through BIA because we house lands and we house education, but the rest of it is not. And so we'd have to get into well, what proportion of the building will be used, you know, right down to square feet, people, parking. It's, you know, it's not difficult, but it is a little tedious.
Questions? Bruce? Have a good day.
Yeah, lemons.
Mike,
Yes, ma'am.
so Holly had to cancel. They just told me right now, John Harris and Mike Wheeler are ready. Can we go into executive?
Okay. Need a motion. Motion by Jennifer to do,
To release the press release regarding the,
dangers of fish.
yes,
So we're approving the press release ready for.
Fish consumption advisory.
Yeah. Second by Lynn, all in favor? Unanimous. So press release is approved.
thank you, tribal council.
Thank you, Mary. Chris. Out of regular, back into executive. Entertain a motion to go forward with the efficiency position. On-farm efficiency position. Martin, motion by Martin. Second by Bing. All in favor? We're unanimous. Cool. Make those farms efficient.
Okay,
Out of regular, back into.
no, but we can talk offline.
Okay,
Just more curiosity.
okay.
Go ahead, Len.
Has SKMM put in bids for these projects?
No, they have not. Showed up to the pre-bid meeting for the pipelines projects. And I want to say the Crow pumping plant project, but no,
Okay.
no further anything from them.
Do we know if Morrison and Marley has been utilizing tribal subcontractors? And the reason why I ask is because I know there was a couple tribal member contractors that have heavy equipment that they wanted used on these projects. And so I was just wondering if you noticed any out there.
So Morrison and Merrily is strictly the engineer, the designer
design.
of them. Knife River and Prospect Construction will be the two generals. And at the bid openings, Melinda Charlotte had made us packets that I handed out to the potential contractors and told them that they needed to be in touch with Melinda and coordinate. So there's an awareness by both contractors of the requirements.
But no confirmation that they're out there.
At this point in time, I actually don't have a completed signed contract for either contractor.
All right, thanks, Mark.
I'd to welcome a motion to move modification 5 forward. Motion by James to approve modification 5 to 21,197 for $887,572. Got a second? Second by Jennifer. All in favor? Unanimous.
Okay. The second contract modification I have today is got a lot of pages in here. Okay, that would be contract number 24096 with Prospect Construction. This is the 31A Canal Chute project, looking to increase the value of this contract by $49,772.85. for a final value of $881,248.85. This is a final reconciliation of all the field change orders that were done during this project. Originally, my predecessor had procured the 36-inch steel pipe for the project. When it was being laid out, they were one stick short, so we had to get another stick of 36-inch steel pipe. There was additional work that had to be done to the pipe that was originally procured, being that it had been welded together apparently in North Dakota as part of that project and torch cut to be recycled, reused, and shipped to us. That did require that at least one end of the pipe be re-beveled for welding. So there was some additional welding and work went into the pipe that we already had. In excavation, they found unsuitable base material under both the pipeline and the energy dissipation structure. So those were over excavated and new material was hauled in. Total of 92 cubic yards of material hauled in for that. And then on some just reconciliation items, fill material, they had 165 cubic yards overestimated, so that saved us $12,210. We had them get some additional riprap to protect both structures on top of the hill and the bottom of the hill, place that. So 58 additional yards there, $8,758. And they had cleared out more area than originally estimated that needed to be reseeded. So there was an additional 2 acres of reseeding that took place.
Is all of this gravel material coming from a tribal gravel pit?
No, it is not. This material was coming from Glacier Sand and Gravel.
From where?
Glacier Sand and Gravel. Wilson.
Yeah.
So if we add up the additional stick of pipe, the welds, and material wise, that's where we get the $49,772.85.
Other questions?
Just want to make a comment to council. I know we had that discussion with tribal lands about developing our gravel pits and start to reusing some of the old gravel pits because all of these projects are coming up now. And we're missing out on revenue here. And, you know, we still got the Highway 93 project that's going to be coming up. And we're still not getting any updates on whether or not these gravel sources are going to be ready for the construction year. So I just wanted to mention that. I think that's really important because we're missing out on a lot of funding, a lot of revenue.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you again, what size pipe did you say that was?
36-inch.
36 inch? Yeah, just, and that's used, you said?
It came off of the Keystone XL pipeline. It was stockpiled over in North
Just
Dakota.
stockpile.
So it's an epoxy coated pipe that was reused, yes.
Hey, I got a question. Do you have an idea what it costs to just bevel that?
I know what kind of time it takes to rebevel each one. I don't know how many bevels they did, but on that size pipe, using a beveler, you're probably looking at between an hour and a half on each end to cut a new bevel.
I hate to disagree with you. I built pipe in Alaska and Washington State for years and for refineries and big pipe. I got a beveler, I can bevel my own. It doesn't matter what size it is. But, it seems like pretty excessive price, to me. I mean, we used to bevel that pipe, set it and weld it in maybe 2 hours.
Thought I had a couple other pages, but yeah, I mean, anymore, welders are expensive and I realize where you're coming from though. Duly noted.
Okay, thank you. I'm just wondering if it was used or if it was just sitting pipe, and it was just sitting there.
Just sitting pipe, yeah.
Okay.
Entertain a motion to approve mod 3 to 24096. Motion by Jimmy. Second by Jennifer. All in favor? Got 8-4 and Carol abstains. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Afternoon, Scott.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of council. Today we have the final Safe Streets for All Safety Action Plan for adoption today. And right here. Okay. Yeah, so this is the 2025 CSKT Safe Streets for All Safety Action Plan. And we were in here back in May with a draft and heard your comments and incorporated a lot of them into the plan, the final plan. And some of those comments were at specific intersections and stuff, and we got those into the final plan. And we also did some better coordination with MDTs. They just released their 2029 statewide transportation improvement plan, so we coordinated better with them to get some of the Highway 93 and other intersection improvements put in there. And other than that, the plan is pretty generalized. It allows us to apply a lot of different treatments to improve safety. And now that this safety action plan will be in place, then we can go towards the implementation of some of these projects. We can pick and prioritize projects, and even if they're bigger projects, we'll go after grant money for it. And for the smaller ones, we'll just use our tribal transportation program money. And with that, I'll ask that tribal council adopt the 2025 Safe Streets for All Safety Action Plan.
Go ahead, Len.
Scott, does the Big Arm to Elmo walking path part of this plan?
Yeah, that's in there.
Okay, and do you have an estimated time frame on when they're going to start construction of that?
I don't.
Okay.
We'll do another transportation planning committee meeting. I told
Okay.
you.
Well, and I was just recollecting from our previous transportation committee that we had, and that particular project was on the plan, and if I recall, it was scheduled for 2024 for construction. And so here we are in 2025 and still nothing. So I was kind of wondering what changed.
Well, that one's a little more difficult because it had to get input into the new, it wasn't on a NTTFI route because it's a new proposed route as a path. So that resolution that you did last week would put it into the category where we can do it now. So that's the reason that it hasn't been done yet, is it wasn't in the NTTFI, the BIA's inventory.
Okay, and another project that we discussed previously was the lighting of the Tanaka home sites and all the way up to the hall. We were talking about getting perhaps solar lighting.
Yeah.
And including the baseball diamond and the new skate park and all of that. Is that going to be on this plan?
That I can do with maintenance funds, and I'm working on that still. So I think we can do it by the end of this summer at least.
Okay, before the powwow?
Let's see.
No, I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Say yes, we can do it.
I need a motion. Motion by Bing to approve the 2025 Safe Streets for All Safety Action Plan. Second by Jimmy. All in favor? We're 8-4 with Jennifer out of the room. What else?
In regards to MDOT, and you might have better perspective on that, but so year and a half, 2 years ago, we met with MDOT. We were talking about these flaws on the highway. One of them was the turn bay into housing, turn bay up there in Evero, into some of the home sites up there. And at that time, the director mentioned to us, yeah, those are our priorities. We're going to start working on them. And then the junction over here on the old Highway 93 and 93. And I know they were, I did see some surveyors out there at one time, but they mentioned to us that these were going to be priorities to us. Okay. And they were going to get on them right away. And then why I question this is they started doing this work up at Mine Singer Trail, and where they created another turn bay, and which really didn't need one at the time because it had one, but they just enhanced it. But I was just kind of have you had any discussion on when they're going to start looking at these other projects? Because housing is dangerous. I mean, every day when people try to turn into their lives are at risk, and especially during the noon traffic hour when people are getting off work, you're turning into housing on the passing lane, and people that aren't familiar with the highway here, a lot of them are tourists, they're not paying attention. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up. If that's something that you can, next time you have any kind of discussion with MDOT, just let them know that council still watching this. We're waiting for these important safety flaws to get done.
And send them an email. So we have some written record of it, of questioning, get some answers. Yeah, thank you.
Bing, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hey, Scott, have you been involved at all with the turnoff that go into the new casino up there by, what's the name of that place? No, the new casino up across the other side of the bridge in Polson. Have you been involved in that at all? Because they're talking about putting a roundabout and everything else in there, but they said it's going to take up a little bit more room than they have on the right of way. So I didn't know whether or not if that's a plan or not. We talked about it the other day at our gaming meeting up there, but it didn't sound like they knew too much about what the plans were yet on it or not.
And I've thought about that, and I haven't met with anybody about that. I haven't heard anything about the development of that intersection. But that's another thing I can bring up and try to get a lot of information and get some input.
Go ahead, Rich.
Mr. Chair, if it is okay, I'd like Scott to give a couple minute update on the Post Creek project. The state has run into some cost overruns that they're, for obvious reasons, tariffs, et cetera, that they're looking at reducing the scope of work on that project. And I want Scott, if we haven't yet, to give them a quick summary of that.
Yeah, I can do that. Since MDT was in here last, I think at the end of it, Bob Bozen, the engineer in Missoula and Kalispell, he said that they were just, I think he just kind of touched on it, that they were pushing the maximum of trying to come up with getting funding, getting all their funding, even with this grant, to complete all the work that is required in the scope of that grant. The week after that he was in here, we had just a regular meeting, and I guess it was a little over a week after, because they had their CMGC, the cost estimating meeting, where the contractor, engineer, and MDT, the contractor and engineer came up with their estimates, and then they work out what bid items should what all the costs include on all the bid items, and kind of whittled it down to make sure they were all happy with the way that the bids were going. The contractor was gonna get compensated fairly, and we weren't gonna get the short end of the stick on they weren't gonna get overcompensated. So after all that work, they came up with that they were still, I think it was $6 million short of funding, even after MDT puts in their match of, I think it was $40 million. So what they proposed, and this is still in, MDT is still working on the details to get it out to us and to the public, but they proposed cutting off part of stopping a little bit short and starting a little bit short. So they're shortening up the project a little bit on both ends, but still doing all the important stuff that are required in the grant and for safety and everything. But they shortened up, they proposed shortening up the project a little bit. Well, actually quite a bit. And some of the reasoning behind that, I figured, is when we first applied for this grant, we applied for the whole thing, and they only awarded a portion of it. Say we applied for 70 million and we only got like 32 million. And they kind of cut it in half, but the halves didn't quite line up with the value, because of the south half. What we got has that 500-foot bridge on it, which is more than half the cost. It's not split evenly. So that's part of the reason, but I'm still waiting to hear back some. They were going to put together a formal explanation and request.
So I just wanted to make sure the council was aware of what's happening to date. And I've been in contact with the MDOT director, Chris Dorrington, about this. And so I'm going to ask him, to explain it, and to ensure that he continues with the project, that at least the portions that we want to keep in there, including the 500 span bridge for grizzly bears and stuff like that. So we're still going to hold our feet to the fire on the stuff that we want them to do. And Whisper's been a pretty good part of this group as well. So just kind of wait and see to see what they say. So I wanted to make sure you guys were aware what was going on. But we just got notice of that last week, so.
Questions? Go ahead, Len.
I think we need to schedule him to come in July and meet with him in person and talk about this.
That's what I was hoping you'd do.
Yeah.
Jimmy?
Yeah, Scott, I've been talking about this for quite a while, but that whole 93 corridor, the safety, the passing lanes, that Leonard was talking about if you're at the housing, it's like that all the way down, all the way from the beginning. And it's just scary as hell. When you're trying to take a left-hand turn in that passing lane, right as you're coming on the res. And those cars are starting to pass at doing 80 miles an hour. Somebody's going to get killed. And it's just, they're just coming too fast. So they've got to do something for the passing lanes all along. What's Bing's talking about at the casino, right at the beginning of the res, what he's talking about, all along that 93. It's unsafe. And there's people turning off to where Donnie Garrison, that little car lot out of Arlee, he doesn't even have a turning lane. There's that island ends there, and they turn there to go into his driveway. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, instead of the island, they could cut that out and make a turning lane there. I mean, a part of it, you know. It's just got to be really visited. I'd like to what Larry's talking about. Bring them in here. And if they want somebody, I'd love to ride with them and show them. Just take a ride one day and in the afternoon and get on that highway and see what happens. Thank you.
Anything else for Scott? You got anything else, Scott?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon. Afternoon, Tabitha. No. Feeding them to me when I can't.
Hey,
I mean, I could.
Great. Good afternoon, members of the council. So today I'm here to present about the Crow Creek Mitigation Reserve and ask for approval for two different resolutions. Brian Upton was here as well. He and I drafted these resolutions together, and I can just kind of quickly go through basically what they are. So all the infrastructure projects that our division is trying to permit and build, often they have impacts to regulated waterways. So either through the Tribal Shoreline Protection Program or Clean Water Act. So my program is responsible for managing all the mitigation components that go along with that. So there's two projects upcoming in the Mission Valley, the Crow Creek Pumping Plant that Mark is managing, and then the Kicking Horse Dam modification project that Safety of Dams is managing. Both of those have unavoidable impacts to wetlands that will require mitigation. And so we tried to consolidate those impacts and the mitigation for those at this Crow Creek Mitigation Reserve. So where the project is at is just right downstream from the Crow Creek Pumping Plant. So it's north of Johnson Road, east of Round Butte. And it's just a little floodplain area that was historically connected and has been disconnected. And so the restoration project is pretty simple, just activating an old floodplain feature. And so all of the wetland that we build there will be kind of quantified and set aside as mitigation for those other two projects. And so the Army Corps requires 12 different components to be in place before they can issue the permit to build that project. These two resolutions are just two of those components. So the first requirement is they have a requirement for perpetual site protection. And so it basically just states that we'll set this project area aside. It's about 46 acres. We'll set aside in perpetuity as conservation lands that will serve as wetland habitat and stream habitat forevermore. And the part of the reason we selected this site is because a big portion of the project area was already set aside as wildlife mitigation land. And it had a lot of good opportunity. You could do a relatively simple solution to activate the wetland essentially. Yep, go ahead. Yep. Yep. Yep, so it's the portion of the property that's closest to the stream, the riparian area is managed by the wildlife program. And then there's some area that is currently managed by tribal lands. But it's not currently being used. The lessee just uses the top area for haying. So we worked with tribal lands. Yeah, here's a map. Yeah, so you could see this little white spot is where the crow pumping plant is. Previously, the wildlife habitat is really just right close to the riparian corridor. And so we're going to protect this whole area outside the corridor and activate this whole area on the right up to the top of the slope. And then the lease is just at the top where the hay is growing. So it doesn't affect the current lease. So that's another benefit is it doesn't have to really, it just gets it formally protected as wildlife habitat. So the resolution itself basically just goes through and kind of references all of the regulations that are at play and all the kind of tribal, oh, I forgot to mention, somehow a page dropped off. So the printed page is like in between page 55 and page 56 on the packet. So that's the first page of this resolution. So it kind of references all of the relevant regulations, and then it goes through like how the tribes have done this kind of work in the past. And then the heart of the resolution is really this biggest, be it further resolved, and this specifies all of the things that we're going to do on the land and all the things that we're not going to do. So it just limits our ability to build anything on the property, like structures or fill, excavate, do anything that's going to harm the actual wetland habitat. We also limit the ability to use for livestock. And then we limit the ability to burn, farm, till hay, remove trees, numerous actions under E, unless those are actions to treat invasive species or unwanted vegetation. So it's pretty straightforward. It would be comparable to like a conservation easement type restriction on the property. We went for, I think in the past, Brian and I had come in and talked to you guys about another project at Jocko Spring Creek, and we kind of weighed the options of deed restriction or conservation easement, and then we realized that the Corps would accept a tribal council resolution. And so that's what we propose here. So that's the first one. So it's resolving to set the property aside in perpetuity for wildlife and cultural and habitat purposes and to maintain as a wetland forevermore. So that's the first one. Is there questions about that one specifically before we do the next one?
I was just wondering, Tabitha, on the now therefore, it doesn't use the word perpetual in there anywhere.
What's that?
In the now therefore, be it resolved, doesn't use the word perpetual. You don't, I would have thought you would have used the word perpetual in there.
Yeah, we just have it be it further in one of the be it further resolved, but we could add it to that first now therefore.
Is perpetual in one of the be further?
Yeah, I can show you where it's at.
Okay, there we go.
At the end, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there.
Here.
That's okay then.
Does that cover it for you?
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions? That'll be after. I need a second. Second by Jimmy. All in favor? We got unanimous.
All right. So the second resolution starts on page 64, and this one is similar. It's something that's required by the Army Corps. in order to issue the permit. And it's just a statement that the tribes will fund the construction of the project and the long-term management of the project. And this one, the tribes have adopted a resolution similar to this at the Lower Jocko J project. And we purposely kept that one really, really simple and straightforward. And the Corps has accepted it in that circumstance. And so we kind of mimicked that style for this one, hoping that they've already accepted that type of commitment in the past. And so we think we're covered here as well. But it basically that's it. It just says that, the tribes will commit to funding the project and maintaining it in perpetuity.
Motion by Martin to approve the resolution establishing financial assurances and long-term management for Crow Creek mitigation project. Second by Bing, all in favor? Unanimous.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Tabitha.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am here for Sadie Fisher, who's at the culture camp, writing permits for people. And we are bringing in today, Fisher, a recreation group use permit for Craig Pablo. This is Janelle Calawat.
Craig is.
No, that looks like Flathead Raft Company. You already approved this one last time. So this one is for Craig Pablo doing business as Native Waters Fly Fishing. He operates on the Lower Flathead River. This is an extension of his current permit that actually expired, I think, a month ago. And so we're just trying to get that reestablished for him. He has fishing on the Lower Flathead River, Mission Creek, Jocko River, excluding the middle fork of the Jocko, which was negotiated last time we came in, where he was not supposed to be in fishing. And so we are proposing to extend his recreation permit out to December 31st, 2028. Previously, we had him on an annual recreation permit because he was new. We were just trying to determine that everything was okay with the business. We didn't have any major infractions. And so we would entertain the request to have Craig Pablo's recreation permit be extended from May 22nd, which is a little bit past right now, to December 31st, 2028. Yes.
Is he our only tribal member fishing guide?
Oh, I was gonna say that. That's ended. We only have 2 commercial permits currently. One is Flathead Raft Company under Janelle Calawat. They do some fishing on the Lower Flathead River, and then Craig is the only other one. We only currently have 2 tribal members with any permit whatsoever.
Yeah, he does fly fishing trips too, right?
Yes.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Len to approve the extension of Craig Pablo's permit. Second by Jimmy, all in favor?
Thank you.
Unanimous.
Lumsh. I have Amanda Bordeaux on for her journal entry approval. If you want to go next, Amanda. Thank you, Rich. And I've got your slides on the screen, Amanda.
All right. Good afternoon. Thank you for your time. I'm here to get approval for journal entry 11 and journal entry 14 to be posted to the general ledger.
Any questions? James. Motion by James to approve submitting journal entry 11, and did you say 14 or 13?
Yes, 14.
It has 13 on our page.
Oh,
Journal,
I apologize. I think I must have sent the wrong one.
okay, so journal entry 14.
Yeah, I can forward that to Jen if you need it for record or anything.
Okay,
I apologize.
I need a second. Second by Jennifer. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. And I have one more. I don't see my name on the top. Okay. Oops, that didn't get us there. Right here. Bring this. Stop share. Should I stop share? And then I go to chat. I don't see it. I am here for the final approval of the 2025 SKQ submittal to the BIA and FERC in relation to the mitigation work that we do annually. The last time I was here was to approve sending the draft to the consultation group. We sent that to them for a 2-week review. We had a presentation like we did to you all with the consultation group. We had a couple of clarifying questions from BIA that just required a email back rather than change to the report. And it is ready to be submitted and sent off to the federal agencies. I just need a letter signed, which will be right there on your screen. And I have it here to be signed to submit the flash drives to FERC.
Any questions? Motion by Danielle, second by Jimmy. Submit say the name of it.
2025 SKQ submittal.
To FERC. All in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you. And then we have the river float trip tomorrow. I was trying to send out a little note about the opening. And just say that we'll have a blessing by the culture committees and whoever from council's there to maybe say a little welcome or maybe help set the intention. Jordan plans to say something and the 2 culture committee directors will have some opening words as well before we head out. So just put it on your radar because I didn't get the email out yet. Meeting at the Flathead Raft Company at 8:30 to get signed up for the boat, leaving onto the river around 10 at Sloan's Bridge.
I want to go, but I really don't want to go to Polson and then back to Ronan. Is there any way for me just to meet you out at Sloan's? I know there's no shuttle back to there, but I'd still have a seat, or do I have to go to Polson?
I think you have to sign the waiver in Polson, which is the drawback. So I think they got to fit you for a life jacket and sign the waiver with the raft company and then to leave from there. So I totally get it. SQCC was asking the same thing, but because they're bringing a whole busload of people, we got to take them up to Polson to get signed up and get fitted. Unless you're bringing your own kayak, then you can do whatever you like. But to get on the boat, you can have a shuttle yourself so you don't have to ride their bus. But I think we have to do that part. So I hope you do come because I really would like you to come.
Bing?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Whisper, how far are they going down the river?
Initially, we were going to Faust Slough, but with the reduced water levels, it was turning into a 5-hour float trip. And the culture committees didn't want to put older people out on that long. We decided 2 hours was really the max for people out there. It is supposed to be 80 degrees tomorrow. So we're going to go to Locust Lane and take out. That is 2 hours with the guides paddling the whole time. So I did see on EKI's Facebook, but that they're gonna release a little more water for flood control because of the rain that we got. So there'll maybe be a little more flows downstream, but it's hoping it's no more than 2 hours. So just past the river honoring site, just around the bend, sort of.
Any other questions?
I guess I did want to say that some people, specifically some of the elders that don't want to do the float, are going to come to Sloan's for the opening and then go to Locust for the lunch and the closing. So if around noon, if there's desire to just kind of be there at the beginning to see everybody off, we're trying to leave around 10 from Sloan's.
Has anybody let the leasing of that egg lease know that we're gonna be out there tomorrow? Should I give him a courtesy message just so he's not thinking? Because right now the landing or the boat launch is closed and I'll just give him a heads up.
Red Ridge?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Councilwoman Matt. This is an area that it's been requested by tribal members that we look at reopening this site for a boat section. So I've asked Mark and I to spearhead that and bring that back in for council consideration to where we could look at a segment of the ag lease for the boat ramp. It's not a ramp, excuse me, just an access. And then take out a portion for the ag lease. We've got a lot of tribal members that are bothering us, and I wouldn't say bothering, they're requesting that be brought back to use. Because we don't have a lot of sites along the river for our membership to use and to partake in subsistence fishing that are adequate at this time. As well as the Flathead Raft Company is doing a lot of work with Mission Mountain Enterprises and people with disabilities. And they like that site for their wheelchair accesses. And so we're going to work with our fisheries program, Whispers Division, Mark, and we're going to come up with a plan, at least to see if for council consideration into the future. The road is a county issue. The dust is a county issue. Maybe we can help mitigate that with some oiling on that for the landowners that are down there. But as far as we can see with my fish and game wardens that have been monitoring the site, it's kept pretty clean. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up to the council that we are looking at that, because when I get pushed by the membership, I need to do something, at least for your consideration. Thank you.
They're paying O&M fees and different things out there as well. So yeah, I think it'll be a good discussion. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Whisper. Think you're up, Rich.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council. The next item for your consideration, and as you know, your natural resource department is vast and large, and Jennifer has posted on there, and I'm hoping that we have the org chart that has the pink boxes located there. that we can show you. We had some things on there that we just wanted to kind of showcase and show you some changes. The Bison Range Program Manager is not necessarily a change. We've always had that on the org chart. And Dan McClure has been doing a great job splitting his time between that and the game warden chief, but we're bringing it back to just a simple Bison Range program manager that will take over a certain segment of the Bison Range, and that position is not new, but we just wanted to kind of show the council of what we're doing, and then keep Dan's focused on the game wardens because he's doing such a great job, and we're getting out there and got some young people, and you know, they're out on the landscape, and people are noticing, and people are compliant. And if they're not, we gently ask them to remove themselves from our landscape. But 9 times out of 10, they purchase their license or conservation permit, and they are compliant, as shown by the 1.4 million of revenue that we generated last year, which is the highest in our history of having the permits. So, and that just goes to show our wardens are doing a tremendous job out there, and Sadie Fisher is doing a great job, and Amanda Bordeaux. Your employees are doing a great job. The next one, we just kind of added on some duties. You can go down a little, Jen. Whisper. Yes,
How many game wardens do we have now?
Right now we have 7, and we're hiring 1 more. That's in process. And then you'll see on the org chart, we added another one just in case. It's just going to be a placeholder if we ever get the funding. And then 2 sergeants and a chief. And so we're doing great work. To go back, I'll let Whisper talk about our Bison Range cashier, front desk attendant, that we just kind of combined some duties.
Sure. We are just working on getting a couple more boxes for our front desk attendant, Bison Range cashier. We're far from town, and like Blue Bay, it's kind of hard to get people that have reliable transportation to be able to get out to those sites. And so we are looking for a couple more boxes under that position to be able to hire some part-time people to sub in when somebody gets sick. Like last week, we had 2 or 3 people sick at one time. And so it's just in order to add more boxes so we can have some temporary or part-time people.
So it's not necessarily a new position, it's just adding more boxes.
That's right.
The game warden one, we just added another box. So it's not necessarily a new position, it's just adding another box. Where we did add 2 boxes, and this is important. We added 1 fisheries biologist 2 position because we have 2 people that are going to retire next year. Les Everts is going to retire, and so is Barry Hansen and Cindy. Holy smokes. And these are longtime tribal employees that have been with us over 30 years. And so we need to look at the future. I don't have any tribal members that are master's levels fisheries biologists. I've been pushing, and we have tribal members that have wildlife degrees, a lot of wildlife degrees, and a lot of master's level wildlife biologists, like the one next to me, and Carrie Enos, and those with bachelor's degrees, but nobody in fisheries, and I'm actively pushing people, including our youth, to go into those fields. I do have a descendant that's very highly touted that possibly may come back, that lives in the area, but for now we don't have anybody in the wings, but I'm trying hard to find that person. But with the small pool that we have, you know, and members either doing trade schools or going into college positions that aren't in natural resources, it's difficult, you know, but we're doing things to try to get that. So that would be a 1 new box. It would just be a temporary box. And then the next one, Art Sukla is going to retire next year. Been with us over 35 years. Yeah, you remember, Len, when we were young, back when we had the trailers that are in this spot now, or we're in the council chambers, creating a a biologist to fill in Shadow Art Sukala during his last year in the program. And as he transitions into retirement, and that will be turning that Bio 1 into a Bio 2 position. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
We have the funding for these two positions nestled within those programs. We're not asking for additional funding. It is money that we are identified in our budgets when we set them this spring, knowing that we were going to have that changeover in staff and needing to have some sort of continuity with those positions.
The only other new one that is a brand new position, and could we go down a little? Into the pink. It'd be up above, going to the left. Keep going up. Be under. It's not there.
Okay.
But I had Martin do a pink version that showed the boxes that were new, and it's coming, I swear. Because I don't like big paper copies. I mean, we got the technology. We can rebuild him, you know, like $6 Million Man. If anybody remembers that show. Yeah, I know. I pride myself on having good stuff to the council. So we can, the one right on the left, if we can, yeah.
Control?
How do we
Zoom in.
zoom in? Oh, there you go. You had it.
She's doing.
Okay. It's a manager in training under Loretta Hoots. Loretta has been doing a great job at 24/7. She's getting ready to transition into a she's getting ready to transition into a sod project coordinator. But we have a tribal member that we want to slide into a manager in training position that will eventually take over the 24/7 National Monitoring Center program manager position. And that is funded. We have the funding for that. So that is the only other new box that we are requesting approval. So to recap again, the new boxes that we have are adding another game warden, which isn't funded, but we want it on there in case we get the funding in the future, so I don't have to come back in. We added the fisheries biologist to Shadow Barry, Hanson, and Les Everts, which we have the funding. And then we added a mitigation biologist under the wildlife program, which we have the funding. And under the 24/7 National Monitoring Center, the manager in training. It's a new box, which we have the funding for.
Carol.
That's a good idea to put boxes that don't have funding. And I don't know why, but I thought there was a reason why they said you only put the boxes in when you have the money. I mean, I don't think it hurts to come back in if you find money, and you're probably going to have extra resources once these people that are higher paid. I mean, you're going to hire somebody probably with a reduced pay, probably not a lot of reduced, but some. But I thought Ruthie had some issue with all these extra boxes. Maybe.
Go ahead, Whisper.
So you're saying not include the bison, the game warden position?
Well, why? Give a reason of why we wanted it without funding.
I guess it does seem more complicated to come in here and get approval and change the whole org chart. So we definitely haven't been trying to update the org chart on a whim. We wait until there's a group of things. There is I'm trying to move over, but the mouse is not very responsive. The game wardens have an uneven number of wardens underneath each, sergeant, and so they had been even at some point, we took them off because we were trying to clean it up. And now it's just like, why don't we have the same number? There's funding out there occasionally. I'm not I don't know. I haven't heard that it's not reasonable to have those, so I don't know.
Argument that you have an extra box. That person gets to add that to their, even though there's nobody they're supervising. And so does that increase their pay? It could.
No, it doesn't. In our experience, there's no number of people that you supervise that raises you in pay scale above anybody else. Because we've looked at just changing somebody's PD or taking away a supervisor totally change that. And from what we've heard from personnel, if you're supervising one person, that's enough. If there's like 100, it's like a lot if there's any change. I don't know if personnel has comments, but I think it's reasonable to have an even number of wardens under each sergeant versus
It really makes a difference, does it? Does it really make a difference? You have the same number? Or is it more like he has more than me, so I want?
No, each sergeant is the same,
Okay.
regardless. We just got about 6 months ago, personnel finally did our game wardens. And so they're at the same level as our police force. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Rich and Whisper. I mean, the only issue I would have is if we put it on the org chart and people complain that we don't have enough wardens, they're gonna ask, why isn't that position filled? Why is it on the org chart if it isn't filled? Because that's one of the things that we hear a lot from everywhere is that there isn't enough wardens. And so we're creating something, putting it on a box, and maybe no one will see it, but chances are, it'd be an employee that would be like, well, there's an open, and they don't know. And so it's just one less headache.
I was gonna say, did you guys go to see Ruth at budgets? Cause she wants to see the org charts before you guys bring them in here. Because if you guys have the org chart showing a position that doesn't have funding, and then you guys come back in and later and say, council approved it, you gotta find us some funds for this position. So that's why the org chart is supposed to go see her to see if you have the budget to put it in your org chart.
But we know we have the funding. We're the ones in charge of the budgets. As a
Yeah, and then Ruth
department,
oversees the
and-
budget.
But I'm the one that implements the budgets to get the job done. Whisper is too. We know that.
And just kind of shifting gears here, so. I've read where EPA is gonna be cutting some grants that impact us. And there's gonna be a number of jobs that are held by some of our members that may or may not be impacted. Are you able to shift funding around to keep those people working?
We're hoping that doesn't happen. It still remains to be seen. Chauncey has informed at least myself and Tony, and I think he's talked to the council about it.
Well, I was just reading in the Wildlife Audubon
Yeah.
that EPA is definitely cutting these grants.
Well,
and I just didn't know which one of those.
We've lost a grant, but it was for a position that we never hired. So far, it's just only been one grant. We're more worried about the positions that of the programs that we've already solidified going back to 1992. And we're less than 1% of the population of the people in this country, and we're less than half of 1% of the funding that EPA gives out is in Indian country.
Okay, so it does happen. You do have a plan.
I'm just throwing
it out there. You don't have to answer that.
I don't think anybody can plan for this president. You know, truthfully, you know, we're cautious. You know, we're working with, I told Chauncey to start working with our lobbyist. I think it's Ryan Rushi, you know, try to weather the storm, but you know, I don't know how anybody can weather this chaos that we're seeing today.
No, I'm just saying, Rich, if it does happen, what is going to be your plan?
Yeah.
On how to address that? Because I hate to see these long-term employees let go. I mean,
I agree.
if we can shift them to somewhere else and keep them working, I would rather see you do that. But
Yeah, I think.
anyway, I don't expect an answer from you. I just wanted to bring that to your attention and let you know because that is it could be reality.
I mean, I would definitely look at my other divisions like water resources, where we could put people. And then Tony has his hand up raised too.
Go ahead, Tony.
Thanks, Chairman and Council. Yeah, I was just gonna start saying the same thing Rich was saying there. It's something that we've evaluated already. The one grant that was, well, it was canceled before we even received it. And we had an employee ready to go into that position to be able to work on that, and we've shifted him into another program already. So we're evaluating the administration and their quick responses or quick actions that they've been seen to take and then taken back. But we're definitely, if there is an incident where a significant funding is cut, we will be more inclined to look to see if we can absorb those employees into other programs or other functions as opposed to just termination, for sure. As Rich pointed out there, you know, they're cutting back on grants. Some of our hard funding, some of our hard dollars are a little more secure, but the grants, the stuff that we get to do projects with, maybe getting cut or may not be as readily available through this administration, for sure.
Questions about the positions on the org chart? Motion by Lynn to accept the new boxes and other boxes. Second by Jennifer. All in favor? Carol.
I will make a motion to go along with the recommendation of the department head and offer what he has written down.
For the employee?
A motion by Carol to take the recommendation of department head for the employee. Second by Danielle. Any other conversation? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 4 opposed. Danielle, I didn't get you for 4, 8, 8, 4, and Len opposed.
Thank you for your time, council.
Thanks, Rich.
It's always good to see you guys. But please, if you ever have any questions, call me directly. I'm happy to give you the information you need. Pardon?
But you with the leader.
They'd throw me in and drown me. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all.
Chad.
Just have one last issue with Brian Upton.
Brian's got another issue. afternoon, Brian.
Thank you. It's not a new issue. I'm just hanging around like a vulture just to put an end to this. I didn't nail down your consensus, I think, for the Bill Farr agreement. And I guess I should say it seems like it's fine for consensus to me, but if you'd like a resolution to memorialize it, I can put that together real quick. So it's up to you.
Is there any objection? I think we're good with consensus.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
The schedule for the second or the third or yeah.
July
first or second.
2nd for the Northwest or the not Northwest.
For the Montana Water Rights.
Montana what? Yeah.
Are we looking at the afternoon of July 1st, Tuesday?
Just giving them another option and telling them that on July 1st, I only have a morning session and didn't know if you guys wanted to do this in the afternoon, so you guys didn't have to come in the morning of Wednesday.
Does that sound good? Come in on we have to come in on the 1st anyway for the morning session. So we could do what I was thinking we would end up on the 2nd. We could do that in the afternoon of the 1st instead. Same day.
Because besides council being there, they also have departments there, and some of them might have turned in their leave slip and wanna. So I just given upped in a couple.
July 1st afternoon. Okay, Martin.
A continuation of my other issue, after talking to Jordan and Ryan Rushi about the letter, they think it might be beneficial for us to send our own, so. I mean, it's just changing it from a letter signing on to our own letter.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Any objection to that? Cool. Thanks, Brian.
Sorry, just to make sure. So I'll send out an invite for the afternoon of July 1st. Okay, thanks. So like 1 to 3, is that what we're, okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hey, before we get out of here, I had a chat with Chad Cotton. And he said that they've been talking very extensively about their people that are in Saudi Arabia. And that they're not worried about the people in Saudi Arabia because if anybody bothered Saudi Arabia, they probably would be obliterated. He did say they have 4 people on travel and they're worried a little about them. 1 was on travel for business and 3 on travel for personal issues. And so they do want to take care to make sure those folks are safe in their travels. And he said that he would update us as they talk more about what's going on in the Middle East. He did say that Technologies does have some contact with the car. And so they could be on somebody's list some way because of the work they do for Dakar. But they're, for the most part, not worried about their people, but they are paying attention. Jen?
One last thing is about on the 1st, you guys have that Dawn Davis, the acting superintendent, will be here.
Yeah.
But she'll also be here Monday afternoon to speak with council on an impersonal
That's right.
visit. But she's gonna be here until Wednesday afternoon, so trying to get scheduled, Mark and
So we'll
Alan
have
Sweeney.
a chance to talk to our acting superintendent on that Monday. One other thing before I get Martin, I did talk to Brian about the cooler weather and the rain, and he said it'll make no what's the word I'm looking for? No actual difference in the lake. Perception of what's going on, but yeah, the precipitation will not really matter to where we're at with the lake levels. But he did say that the cooler weather has the input of the lake coming a little stronger than they expected, so they had to actually increase the output so that the lake wouldn't overfill. So, go ahead, Martin.
What about SNK Electronics? They make computer chips that go in bombs and things like that. Shouldn't we worry about them as well?
Haven't talked to them yet, but you're right. But they're not located in the Middle East. It's true. Yeah, and I made an inquiry of our tribal police about the whitefish gallop, but I haven't got a word back yet. So. Chehoy.